welcome back to Pommy and Oz. I hope we're all doing really well. If you are a returning Pommy and Ozzer, as we're using now, we're dubbing that term, welcome back to you. If you are new, it's really nice to see you all. Please drop a like, please drop a subscribe. It really does help the channel out, and it makes me feel like I'm not going a little bit crazy talking into a camera on top of a pint glass. So Carlton, we come off a 22-point loss to the Eagles, and if you watch my preview, I'm not really that surprised. It was a game really that kind of just amplifies where we are as a club, really, and it hurts. It hurts. Those who saw my fan cams know my feelings. I'm a little bit of an anger junkie at the moment, it feels like, and I don't want to be angry at the club. Like, for me, when we talk about supporting clubs, I don't see how getting angry and picking apart the club isn't a supporter. For me, I actually think that's the very definition of a support, because for me, your biggest supporter in your family is usually your dad, your ma, a family member, or someone inspirational in your life like that as a young kid, and they support you. And genuinely, when they support you, the definition of support is that they also pick faults with you, so you become a better human being. And let's be honest, Terry had a really good article he posted February. The time for development's over, and we're still hearing these words, aren't we? Learnings, development, and you've got to see that this is a long rebuild, and at this stage we should be competing. And if we can't compete with a top 8 side that is missing a core crux of their players, Simpson said it in the pre-game that they were kind of decimated, and I find that worrying. And this game saw, I think, 2 poignant moments for me. There was a great tackle that the Eagles did from the young kid. They all got around him. Edwards made a real hard tackle, and they all got around him. Newman had that moment of bravery, and he's laying there semi-unconscious. No one comes near him to see if he's okay. And then we saw the first goal kicked by the Eagles player, and we saw zero getting around from the Carlton boys, and we saw Luke Foley kick that goal, and I think people came from all around the ground, didn't they, to go and give him a little bit of a G-up. And Stocker kicked that goal a couple of weeks ago, and I think I was the closest to him. And that's just the passion on the field. I mean, you look at Carlton's numbers, Mark Pitner laying more tackles than anyone else on the ground, but then you've got midfielders there with zeros. You've got pressure forwards with zeros. I said it in my preview, and I went through my preview because Paolo gave me a bit of kudos on the Blue Abroad show, and I appreciate that, Paolo, if you're watching, mate. Thank you very much. That I worked out how you beat Carlton, and I went through all my previews, and I pretty much, not bigging myself up, got how a structure will work for them to win the game and what you need to stop defending. And that was obvious. West Coast Eagles have played that way for a good long while now. A good long while. It's them short stab kicks, looking to go into the corridor, control the footy, try and drag you out of position and really test your structure. And I've seen Carlton fans, you know, come up with nonsense, short of ground. Got to remember, the Eagles don't play the SDG well at all. And look at golfers, look at tennis players. They play different venues week in, week out. Part of professional sport is adapting to a situation. People talk about Teague, it's not really his 3rd year, COVID year. Look at the ladder last year, there was no massive surprises. That 8, with the exception probably of St Kilda, people thought they'd rise or at least level. So they were maybe a surprise, but it went to form. The best team won the flag. Richmond were the best team. They were the flag holders. We aren't developing. Lidl, the club, they spout this nonsense week in, week out, and we lap it up. And it's the nonsense on the field is a direct reflection of the garbage we hear. Do you know what I mean? The club is decimated. Is decimated. That 22 versus their 22 is alright saying that they've won flags, but one of the most important stats you look at when you look at matchups, and for anyone who gambles, this is a good little indication. You look at your 100 to 149 gamers. Genuinely, these are the guys in every team that will win. We had 6, they had 1. They had 1 player. The rest was younger than ours in all avenues. Less than 50 games, 10 players from them. And it's okay, they come from a better system. But one thing that you look at from the Eagles is they don't hand out debuts ad hoc like we do. We just throw in debuts because it's a good story. I mean, hell, we're dragging players to 300 games for stories at the moment. But they learn that system and they believe in that system. And one thing I noticed that Edwards got a lot of the ball, Foley, they actively look to use them. Stocker can be in great positions and they don't use them. And they have faith in each other, they have faith in the system, they have faith and belief. I was on the West Coast fan page and there was a lot of conversation about how they were depleted. But there was a great comment here saying, yeah, these boys are young and these boys haven't had much experience outside of the waffle. But let's be honest, if these young players are coming in and can't beat a team like Carlton, they don't belong in the AFL. That stings. We have no respect from anyone else. And when you have no respect, you've got to go out and take that. But when you're not willing to put your head over the ball, you're not willing to do the basics, man. The basics. The basics of football. 49 tackles to 43. Bad kicking is bad football. And that was terrible. That's up there with round 2. That's up there with round 2. And it's not going to get better. It's not going to get better because there is no ownership. You see, Teague, it's okay him saying these pretty words. But he's out of his depth. The team is out of his depth. The list outside of our core 25 is shithouse. And this is year 6, man. We should be at the stage now where we're looking at that next core. Who's replacing who? Dow did okay today, but Foley dominated, man, in his little passages of play. He looked like a real sort. And you're talking a top 10 pick versus a not top 10 pick. That's where you've got to look at it. And is that because Dow's not as talented as Foley? I don't think that's the case. I think the case is that their structure allows players. Their learnings allow players. And there is an honesty from the Eagles and probably 17 other sides that we don't have. And we need to start being honest. It's okay being a fanboy or a girl and, getting around it. I've seen posts from people, picking fault with other fans. It's phenomenal if you want to do that. If you want to be a coward, be a coward. You want to be a coward, you can be. During the war, people got white feathers for not wanting to join up. That's fine. You want to be like, oh, that's cool. It's your right. It's your right. But we could have an honest conversation with ourselves. As a football club, as a fraternity. 81,263 was mentioned in that glorious message that we'd signed a bank, which is ironic because banks are fucking corrupt and we are corrupt. They send PR as well and we're a PR club. Or get a little bit of fortitude, a little bit of self-respect and be like, I signed up not because I believed a message from Kane Liddell or David Teague or freaking Eddie Betts or whoever you want to say, and I did it because I love the club and I love being part of something. Whether you believe in me or you don't believe me, whether you agree with me or you don't, I couldn't give two shits anymore. Because I'm speaking these words because it's coming from the heart. This club is my heart. And if you question my blue, you're a prick. You're a prick. And I guarantee you wouldn't say it. Guarantee you wouldn't. Because if you feel what I feel, it's hard picking on my team. It's hard, it hurts. It's like telling my kids off. And if you ask my wife, I lay into my kids when they mess up. And I hate doing it. I hate doing it. And I hate being right when they don't give me the effort. It hurts me because a part of me dies every time I do it. And a part of me dies every time I go on fan cams and do this. And if we can't be honest and we can't rise up and we can't say that we deserve better as a fan base, as a club, as a historical unit, what is the point anymore? If any of you really care about the PR, You're lost, man. Like, there is loads of societies you can go to that spread goodwill and nature, but this is sport. It's about winning. It's about coming together. It's about giving hope to people that don't have hope. When I was a little boy and I was adopted, my one hope was going to see my sports team. It was the one time I felt connected to something greater than me. And right now I am connected to absolute tosh. I am seeing 22 men don't believe in what they're doing. I see a coach that doesn't believe in what he's doing and doesn't believe in it. And I see a club that believes in making money over actually giving value to their fans by being honest and being truthful. I'm fortunate enough that I went to rehab, so I've had to clean myself up through addiction. And my first stage was admitting what I was wrong. Admitting I was wrong. Admitting what I was doing in my life wasn't beneficial for me. I had to have hard conversations with people that I'd hurt and betrayed. And I had to have hard conversations with myself. But you know what happens? The door opened and it was tough. But you know, the healing could begin. And while we mess about, while we piss about with fake tactics that aren't going to work, we will never be a side that is at 60%. Because our defensive structure, and it's okay you're saying it's not structure, it is structure. Watch us. Watch a good team. Because all these people that say that it's not structure don't watch football. They watch Carlton and they think they're football fans. And you're not football fans. If you don't watch another team, I question your knowledge. Because you have to watch it. And the way they work in the first quarter, a good friend of mine texted me and said, we're not doing so bad here. And I said, look at how hard we're working to try and alleviate the lack of defensive structure. When the legs go and 5 yards becomes a little bit hard to run, you watch them open us up with the short kicks, and they did. They did. The willingness to get your head over the ball, the willingness to be a bit nasty, the willingness that no one came to Nick Newman's aid when he did what he did, which was heroic, says it all as a club. Says it all about a club. Because it's hard. It's hard, it's not nice. It's not easy. It's not easy. And people don't like the analogy we go to war, but I firmly believe that the why human beings are so stupid. Imagine explaining sport to an alien. That 80,000 people turn up to cheer on other human beings representing a fake cause. Because Carlton's not real. Really, it's not, doesn't mean anything to an alien. But it fucking does when you're part of it, doesn't it? Hurts. It hurts when you lose. Affects your mood, affects everything. So much greater than that. And until we start being honest as a fan base of what is acceptable, there's no pressure to change. Because it's tough to change. I'm telling you, I'm looking you in the eye and the heart. It requires something greater than just saying you will. It requires mind, body and soul. And you know, people were angry with me, and I'm angry at Carlton, but I'm not angry at any individual. I'm angry at the whole system being allowed this because it's cultivating this. And it's little things that turn into big things. It's not getting around people when they do stuff. It's playing people out of position. It's selling false hope that this will work, because you can't be surprised that that happens. Whether you think the Eagles were a waffle side or a good side, can't be surprised that's happened, because a top 8 side would have seen them outs and said, we'll give these guys a lesson. And you could see that there was an opinion that we'd just turn up and we'd win from a large amount of fans, which then reflects on the club. And when you're making shitty posts that the SCG's ground is different, have a word with yourself. Life's tough. Sport is probably harder than anything you'll do in life to be good at. It's hard. It's having a rare gift and then coming up against other rare gifts and being honest with yourself. But that was garbage, man. If we accept that as a club after all this time, and then we're looking at Essendon and we're making excuses for them and we're making excuses for Sydney why they're good, it's because they have a cultivation of expectation. It's because they are honest with themselves. You can go deep down the rabbit hole like I do and see that the club try and fucking monitor everything that comes from an official source. And that happens. Swear on my children's lives that happens. And these are edited of big outlets that fans get sent to. And look at every dictator that's done evil or done wrong. He's edited what the people know. The club is screwed, man. And it's no quick fix. It's no quick fix, but the fix is easy. We all get on the same page. We all start admitting that this club is better than being a training ground, a kindergarten. Because it isn't. It's professional sport. And when you are good enough to represent that shirt, you are good enough to play. No, give it time. No, nothing. They should be trained and drilled. And at the moment, there is no structure. There is no system. The system is laughable. Explain it to an alien. A side that has had the worst kicking efficiency, bottom three for what, the last 6 years? And its game plan is built around its kicking efficiency? That seems normal to you. If that seems normal to you, cool. You're wrong. And I never tell someone their opinion's wrong, but it's wrong. Till Carlton Football Club start being honest with themselves and not hiding away with shitty little media articles and shitty little sob stories and shitty little heartbreak and shitty little hope. Charlie Kerner getting Ed Kerner to say that he's back to his best. His big brother as part of the PR machine. You know what? I wouldn't say that about my brothers, and I wouldn't say that about any of you, because everyone who watches this show is a brother and sister of mine. Whether you agree with me or not, whether you like me or not, I would help you out, because we are part of something so much greater than this. The F for football, for me, stands for family. We're a family, man. It's heartbreaking. Structurally, it's piss poor. Everything is piss poor about this club. Fake fans numbers. Just make them up, man. Make them up. We signed up because we believed in this club. And we will continue to. I don't suspect it to fall off too much, apart from the free memberships that we just toss out for banter. But it was a sob story. Saw an article on Zero Hanger. Jacob Wheater saying finals are still on the agenda. Is the guy having a bubble, man? Come on, Jacob, bro. I love you. But don't lie to me, man. Don't piss in my pocket and tell me it's raining. Until these players start being honest. And you know how they'll get that? Because they don't believe in the system. I guarantee you now they don't believe it. It's when they know they've got us behind them. We're willing to fight for the change. We will be the change. Because long when I'm gone and Mark Lagoudichet's gone and everyone else is gone at the club, there'll still be fans replacing us, because we'll still be there. My kids and their kids will believe in the dream as well, of how great this football club is and how great our fan base is and how great it is to be part of something. Hearing words about legacy from the board, the legacy that they've left is they've fucked the club. They have had 5 years to do a rebuild with a numerous amount of picks, and it is no better. The shopping list of what we need now in players is probably still as big as it was then. The difference is now is that there's a little bit of fucking hope gone, and some of these younger players that we build on, I don't blame them if they leave. In fact, I hope they do leave, because I actually care for them. Sam Walsh was my son. I wouldn't want him playing for this mob, ruining his career. If Harry was my son, I wouldn't want him playing for this mob, and I love the club. But I'd want him to have some personal success and enjoyment. And I couldn't guarantee it would happen, because I've heard the same bollocks every week. It's time for change. It's time for the football club to be honest and not push dickheads to milestones. Push the club to win games. We don't want milestones, man. Who cares? If Mark Murphy cares about reaching game 300, that's what's wrong with this club. You should want to earn 300, not expect it. It's laughable. It's laughable, and it isn't going to get better. Thank Christ we've got to buy. But you watch over this week, and I want you to watch the media department. The bollocks they will feed you. We deserve better. The players deserve better. Carlton Football Club deserves better. And it is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. I wish I could come through the screen and just fucking hug you all. Because it's bad. Systematically, it's bad. There is a cancer rooting through this club. We're the cure. We are the cure. Thanks for listening to my rant. Probably wasn't the greatest review. But I want you to know that whether you like me or you don't, I love you all. You're all brothers and sisters to me. And I'm honoured to be a part of you all. Go Carlton.